They banished her for carrying life, and she became the reason the Alpha King learned what protection truly meant. The first snow came early that year, biting through Serafina's thin cloak as she stumbled north into the mountains. Behind her, the gates of Silverpine territory clanged shut with brutal finality. Ahead, only endless white and the promise of death. She was 7 months pregnant, unmated, and exiled under laws as old as the wolves themselves. The elders had pronounced sentence at dawn, their voices flat as stones. Pregnant without a bonded mate, corrupted, shameful, better dead than contaminating the pack's purity. They'd given her until sunset to cross the border. After that, any wolf could kill her on sight. Serafina pressed one hand to her swollen belly, feeling the baby move with determined kicks. Her daughter, she knew somehow it was a girl, fought for life even as the world conspired to end them both. "Just us now," she whispered. "But we're alive. That counts for something." She climbed higher, following game trails that grew narrower with each mile. The air thinned, sharp as broken glass in her lungs. Her feet bled inside worn boots. Hunger gnawed her stomach, competing with the baby's constant pressure against her ribs. On the third day, half dead from exhaustion and cold, she found the cabin. It was small, abandoned, tucked between massive pines like something from a nightmare or a blessing. She couldn't tell which. The roof sagged but held. The door hung crooked but closed. Inside, dust and decay and mouse droppings, but also a stone hearth and ancient firewood and walls thick enough to hold back the wind. Serafina collapsed inside and didn't move until darkness came. She survived through pure stubbornness, built snares from unraveled thread to catch rabbits, found a stream fed by underground springs, discovered wild onions and dried mushrooms clinging to dead logs. It wasn't enough. She was constantly hungry, constantly cold, but it was survival. At night, she talked to the baby, made promises she had no idea how to keep, that they'd be safe, that they'd be free, that exile didn't mean the end of everything. 4 months in the mountains, then 5. Her belly swelled despite meager food. The baby grew strong, her movements fierce and insistent, as if she knew she had to fight to exist. Until the night the wolves came. Serafina woke to howling, distant, then closer, then surrounding the cabin like a noose tightening. She grabbed the sharpened branch she kept by her bedroll, her heart hammering. Through gaps in the walls, she saw them. Dozens of wolves, their eyes reflecting moonlight, their forms massive and coordinated. Not rogues. These wolves moved with military precision. A wolf approached, larger than the others, black as midnight, radiating authority even in animal form. He shifted as he reached the threshold, becoming a man who had to duck through the doorway. Tall, scarred, his eyes amber and ancient. They locked onto Serafina with intensity that stole her breath. "Don't hurt us," she whispered, hating how small her voice sounded. "Please." "I'm not here to hurt you." His voice was deep, roughened by cold. "I'm here to understand why a pregnant Omega is dying alone in my territory." His territory. This was an Alpha, maybe the Alpha. "I didn't know these mountains were claimed," she said quickly. "I'll leave at first light. You're 7 months pregnant and half-starved. You're not traveling anywhere." He stepped inside, and firelight revealed exhaustion carved into his features. "Why are you here?" "Exiled, Silverpine Pack. I was pregnant, unmated. The father denied me. The elders called us corrupted." Her hand moved protectively to her belly, said we were better off dead. Something shifted in his expression. Pain, recognition, devastation. "My name is Matthias Corvus, Alpha King of the Northern Reach." His voice remained steady, but she heard the grief beneath. 3 months ago, I lost my mate and unborn child to a rival pack's attack. I've spent every night since wondering what I could have done differently. He looked at her belly, his eyes holding raw pain. When my border patrol reported a pregnant Omega alone in the mountains, I had to see. Had to know if I could protect at least one life I wasn't supposed to save. The baby kicked hard. Matthias's eyes widened. "She's strong," Serafina whispered. "No matter what they said, she's strong." "Who exiled you?" "Silver Pine, Southeast Territory. I was unmated, pregnant. The father broke the bond after claiming me, said the child was my problem." Tears burned her eyes. "They exiled me to die." Matthias's body went rigid with barely controlled rage. "What's your name?" "Serafina. Serafina." He tested it gently. "Do you want to survive? Do you want your daughter to live?" "More than anything." "Then let me help. My pack is 3 hours from here. Healers, food, warmth, safety. I'm offering sanctuary." "Why?" The question burst out. "You don't know me, don't know if I'm telling truth. I know you've survived 4 months alone while pregnant, built snares and weapons with your bare hands, reinforced this cabin." His voice was absolute. "Any Omega that strong deserves a chance to see her child born safely." The baby moved again, insistent. "What do you want in return?" "Nothing. No debt. Just—" He looked away, grief carving deeper lines. "Just let me do for you what I couldn't do for them." Serafina made a choice that would change everything. "Okay, we'll come with you." Relief flooded his expression. He draped his cloak over her shoulders, thick fur, impossibly warm. "Can you walk?" "I think so." Outside, his pack surrounded them protectively. Matthias shifted to his massive black wolf form and knelt, offering his back. Serafina climbed on carefully, her pregnant belly making it awkward, but his fur was soft and his body radiated heat. He ran through the night, the mountains blurring past. The moon rose full and silver, illuminating their path like a blessing. For the first time since exile, Serafina felt something other than fear. She felt hope. Chapter 2. The northern reach sprawled across a valley ringed by protective peaks, the central village built around a massive longhouse with smaller cabins radiating outward like spokes. Smoke rose from dozens of chimneys. Wolves moved freely, their laughter carrying on cold air. It looked happy. They arrived at dawn, sunlight painting snow gold and pink. Matthias led her directly inside the longhouse, and warmth hit like a physical force. A massive fireplace dominated one wall, furs covered everything, and wolves stopped mid-conversation, eyes turning to assess this pregnant stranger. "Everyone!" Matthias's voice cut through silence. "This is Serafina. She's survived alone in the mountains for 4 months. Pregnant and exiled. She's under my protection. Anyone who harms her answers to me." The declaration was absolute. A silver-haired woman approached. "I'm Vera, the pack's healer." Sharp eyes assessed Serafina professionally. "When did you last eat properly?" "I don't remember." Vera's expression softened. "Come, we need to examine you and the baby." She was led to a private room, smaller, warmer, with a bed impossibly soft after months on bare ground. Vera worked with gentle efficiency, checking vitals, measuring belly, listening to the baby's heartbeat. 7 months? Almost 8 now. Hard to track time alone. The baby is small but healthy, fighting spirit. Vera smiled slightly. "Like her mother, but you're malnourished, dehydrated. And your body is eating its own reserves. Another month alone would have killed you both." The words landed like stones. "Can you save her?" "I can save both of you, with proper food, rest, and care." Vera placed a weathered hand over Serafina's. "But you need to accept you're not alone anymore. That's going to be the hardest part." Food came in waves: hot broth, bread, roasted meat, and vegetables. Between bites, she met wolves who'd serve as support. Lily, a young Omega who looked at Seraphina's belly with undisguised longing. Thorn, a warrior who'd lost his own mate to childbirth. Henrik, an elder who simply nodded and said, "The mountains test us all. Those who survive deserve respect." Matthias appeared periodically, checking without hovering. "Where will I stay?" Seraphina asked after the third round of food. "Here, in this room attached to my quarters. It was going to be my child's nursery." His jaw tightened. "I had it prepared. Furs for warmth, herbs for protection, a window facing east." Pain cracked his voice. "It's empty now. I'd rather it serve its purpose than sit unused as a monument to failure." Seraphina understood grief. She stood carefully and placed her hand on his arm. "It's not failure to lose someone you love. It's just the cruelest thing the world does." Matthias's eyes met hers, depths of pain visible. "I was hunting, leading patrol, left her with guards, healers, every protection. The rival pack still found a way in, still killed her and our unborn son before I could return." His voice cracked. "I was 2 hours away. Might as well have been a lifetime." "You didn't kill them. The rival pack did. I wasn't there to stop it. Matthias." She used his name deliberately. "If I'd died in those mountains with my daughter, it wouldn't have been my fault. It would have been the fault of the pack that exiled me, the mate who denied me, the laws that said we were disposable." She squeezed his arm. "Your mate's death isn't your failure." Something shifted in his expression. Not healing. Grief didn't work that fast, but the smallest crack in his wall of guilt. "Sleep," he said finally. "We'll talk more when you've rested." Seraphina climbed into the bed and was unconscious before he closed the door. She woke to darkness and panic, the dream visceral, her old pack finding the cabin, dragging her back, the elder's cold eyes passing judgment. "You're safe." Matthias's voice came from the doorway. He'd heard her distress, was already half shifted and ready to defend. "Sorry. Bad dream." "Don't apologize. The first weeks are hardest. Your mind doesn't trust safety yet." He stepped inside but kept distance. "My mate's name was Iris. When she died, I dreamed about it every night for 2 months. The attack, her screams, arriving too late." His voice was hollow. "Then the dreams changed, became memories of her laughing, her singing to our unborn son." "That sounds harder somehow." "It is, but it's proof that grief evolves, doesn't disappear, but changes shape." He moved to the window. "Iris would have liked you, would have fought the elders herself if she'd known they exiled a pregnant Omega." The baby kicked, strong and insistent. "She's active tonight," Matthias observed. "She's been that way since we arrived, like she knows she's safe." "May I?" He gestured toward her belly, tentative. She guided his hand to where the baby was kicking. The movement intensified, as if the child recognized something in his touch. Matthias's expression transformed, wonder replacing grief. "She's strong, like her mother apparently, like both of you." He kept his hand there, feeling each kick. "What will you name her?" "I don't know yet. Feels like bad luck before she's safely born." "When you decide, I'd like to know." "Why are you doing this? Really?" Matthias was quiet, choosing words carefully. "When Iris died, I wanted to die too. But I'm an alpha king. I have responsibilities, so I survived. Kept moving, kept leading, but I was empty." He stood, pacing. "Then my patrol reported a pregnant Omega alone in the mountains, and something woke up, the part that had shut down. Because here was a life I could actually save." His voice roughened. "You asked why. Because helping you helps me remember why I'm still alive, why survival matters." Seraphina felt tears on her cheeks. "Thank you." "Don't thank me yet. You're about to discover how overbearing a grieving alpha king can be about protecting a pregnant Omega." His weak humor was genuine. "Vera's going to monitor you daily. Thorn's going to guard your door obsessively. and I'm going to worry until your daughter is born safely. I can live with that." He left, closing the door softly. Serafina lay back, one hand on her belly, feeling her daughter's movements slow into sleep. For the first time in 8 months, she let herself imagine a future that didn't end in death. Outside, the full moon watched, silver and patient, and in the room, meant for a child who'd never been born, a rejected Omega and an unborn baby slept peacefully, wrapped in the protection of a grieving Alpha King who'd found purpose in saving what he couldn't save before. And now I invite you to leave a trace of your presence in the comments. Tell us where in the world you're watching from, and the exact hour you hear this story. We wish to know how far these northern confessions travel, and at what moments of the night they find you. Chapter 3. The pack watched Serafina constantly those first weeks, though they tried to hide it. Lily coincidentally passed by with fresh linens. Thorn just happened to patrol her exact route. Henrik materialized with stories clearly chosen to reassure rather than inform. It should have felt suffocating. Instead, it felt like being wrapped in warmth after years of cold. Vera checked on her twice daily, monitoring the baby's growth. "You're responding well. The baby's grown significantly. So have you. 5 pounds already in 2 weeks. When will labor come?" 6 weeks, maybe 7. First babies come on their own schedule. Vera's expression grew serious. "Does your old pack know you're here?" "I don't think so. I covered my tracks carefully." "Good, because if they discover you're alive and thriving..." Vera didn't finish. The old laws were clear. Exiled wolves who survived became proof the exile was unjust. Better to ensure they died, erasing the mistake entirely. Serafina touched her belly protectively. "Matthias said I'm under his protection." "He did, and his word is absolute here." Vera's eyes held warning nonetheless. "But if your old pack demands your return, claims you stole property or broke oaths, things could get complicated. I'll leave before that happens. Won't let my presence start a war. You'll do no such thing." Matthias's voice came from the doorway. "Sarah, you're not a liability. You're under my protection. If your old pack comes calling, they deal with me." He'd started calling her Sarah after the first week. The nickname felt intimate, claiming small familiarities while respecting autonomy. "I don't want anyone dying for me," she said quietly. "Then it's good no one's planning to die." Matthias added wood to the hearth. "Vera, double the border patrols. I want reports of any silver pine wolves within 50 miles. After Vera left, Matthias settled across from Serafina. "Tell me about your mate, the one who denied you." She hadn't expected the question. "His name was Rylan Voss, beta class, ambitious. We grew up together. I thought he loved me. When my heat came and the bond snapped, I believed it was meant to be." But he didn't. He wanted the physical without commitment, claimed me during heat, then broke the bond immediately after. Her voice went flat. Said he couldn't afford to be tied to a low-status Omega, that the pregnancy was my problem. Matthias's expression turned murderous. "He forced a bond breaking while you were pregnant?" The elders sanctioned it, said if he denied paternity, there was no bond to maintain. Her laugh was bitter. "I went from claimed mate to discarded Omega in 3 hours. When I started showing, they called it proof of corruption. Exiled me before I could tell anyone the truth." That's not just cruel. It violates every sacred law. Bond breaking during pregnancy can kill both mother and child. I know, but we survived. That's what matters. Surviving isn't the same as justice. Maybe not. But justice won't feed my daughter or keep her warm. Matthias studied her, something like admiration in his eyes. "You're practical, but Sarah, if you want justice, if you want your old pack to answer for what they did, I'll help you get it." "Why?" "The satisfaction of watching Rylan Voss face consequences." His voice was cold steel. "And maybe closure for both of us. I couldn't save Iris, but I can ensure the wolves who hurt you understand actions have repercussions. The offer hung between them, tempting and dangerous. Not yet, Serafina said finally. Right now, I just want my daughter born safely. After that, maybe we talk about justice. Fair enough. They fell into companionable silence, fire crackling. Serafina felt the question forming. Tell me about Iris, not the death, the life. Matthias's expression shifted, pain mixing with fondness. She was a warrior, best archer in the pack, could hit a target from 300 yards in high wind. He smiled slightly. Stubborn as hell. Once decided something, impossible to change her mind. I loved that, even when we argued. How did you meet? She shot me. Serafina blinked. What? Training exercise gone wrong. I was 17, newly shifted, cocky. Challenged her to an archery contest. She put an arrow through my shoulder to prove a point. His smile widened. I fell in love immediately. Took her 3 years to admit she felt the same. She sounds perfect. She was, and terrifying, and funny in ways that surprised me. His expression dimmed. When we discovered she was pregnant, she was cautious, almost superstitious about celebrating too early. Like she knew. You couldn't have known. Intellectually, I understand. Emotionally? He shook his head. I replay that day constantly. If I'd refused the patrol, if I'd left more guards, if I'd been more careful with Rylan, Serafina interrupted gently. If I'd refused the bond, if I'd run earlier, if I'd been smarter, stronger, more worthy. She stopped, recognizing the pattern. We can if ourselves to death, Matthias. But it doesn't change what happened. Just makes us relive it endlessly. He looked at her, really looked, and something passed between them. Understanding, recognition, the specific kinship of two people who'd survived catastrophic loss. You're wise for someone so young. I'm 23, not that young. Compared to my 38, you're practically a child. A pregnant child who survived 4 months alone in your mountains. That earns me the right to wisdom. Her tone was light, teasing. Fair point. The baby kicked hard enough that Serafina gasped. Matthias was at her side instantly. Are you okay? Is it labor? Should I get Vera? She's just active. Calm down. Serafina caught his hand, pressed it where the baby was moving. Feel that? She's dancing. Matthias knelt, his large hand covering her belly, his expression transforming. She's fierce. She's been that way since conception, like she knew she had to fight to exist. What will you tell her? About her father? About the exile? Serafina had thought about this constantly. The truth, that her father was weak and cruel, that his pack was wrong, but that she's wanted, that I chose her every single day. Her voice strengthened. And I'll tell her about the Alpha King who saved us when he didn't have to, who gave us a home when the world said we deserved death. Matthias's eyes glistened. She'll have everything I couldn't give my son. Protection. Love. A chance to grow up without fear. We both will. The moment stretched, intimate and fragile. Matthias's hand remained on her belly, feeling life within. Serafina's hand covered his, creating a circle of protection. I'm glad you found the cabin, Matthias said softly. Glad my territory was where you ran. Me too. Outside, twilight painted the mountains purple and gold. The pack settled in for evening meals, and in the room meant for a child who'd never been born, 2 broken souls shared space and warmth and tentative hope. The baby kicked again, strong and insistent, and both of them smiled. Chapter 4. The nightmares came in the 8th month. Serafina would wake gasping, trapped between memory and terror. Dreams of Rylan finding the cabin, of giving birth alone while her daughter froze. Every night, Matthias appeared within seconds, drawn by sound or alpha instinct. You're safe, he'd say, voice steady. Breathe with me. He never touched without permission, never pressed for details, just sat nearby until her heart rate slowed. "I'm sorry," she whispered one night, "for waking you, being weak." Matthias's expression hardened. "Sarah, you're 8 months pregnant, living in exile, traumatized by abandonment, and you're still surviving. That's extraordinary strength. Doesn't feel like strength. It never does from inside." He shifted against the wall. "After Iris died, I couldn't sleep in our room for 2 months. Moved into pack quarters, worked myself to exhaustion, still woke screaming. What changed? You. Having someone to protect gave me reason to function beyond existing." He met her eyes. "Made me remember life doesn't stop for grief." Before Serafina could respond, her belly tightened, sharp, breath-stealing. She doubled over. Matthias was at her side instantly. "Contraction?" "I think so. It's too early. It's 36 weeks. Close enough." His voice remained calm despite urgent movement. "I'm getting Vera." He was gone and back with the healer in under 2 minutes. Vera examined Serafina with practiced hands. "False labor, Braxton Hicks, your body practicing." Vera's eyes pinned Serafina. "But the stress from nightmares isn't helping. Could trigger early labor." "I can't control nightmares." "No, but we can change what happens when you wake." Vera looked at Matthias. "She needs consistency, security, someone nearby. I'm already coming. Someone in the room, not separated by walls." Vera's tone brooked no argument. "The baby senses her mother's stress. If Serafina sleeps better, knowing she's not alone, the baby benefits." Heat rose in Serafina's cheeks. "I can't ask." "You're not asking. I'm prescribing." Vera stood. "Matthias, move a bedroll into this room. Nothing improper, just presence." After Vera left, awkward silence filled the space. "You don't have to," Serafina said. "I want to. If it helps you sleep, helps the baby, it's common sense." He positioned a bedroll near the hearth, close enough to be visible but respecting space. That night, Serafina expected to feel uncomfortable. Instead, she felt safe. When the nightmare came, she woke to find Matthias already awake, offering anchor immediately. "Breathe. You're in the northern reach. She's safe. He can't touch you." Panic receded faster, her body recognizing safety. "Tell me something true," she whispered, using Vera's grounding technique. "Your daughter kicked 17 times during dinner. I counted." "Something else." "Vera predicts she'll have your eyes but be built like a warrior." "More." "I talked to Henrik about expanding the nursery, adding windows, building furniture." His voice steadied her. "And I realized I'm excited. First time since Iris died, I'm actually looking forward to tomorrow." Serafina's breathing steadied completely. "Thank you. Sleep, Sarah. I'm here." She did, dreamlessly, waking at dawn more rested than in months. The arrangement continued. Matthias sleeping in her room, always respectful, always present. The nightmares, while not disappearing, lost their power. During the day, the pack prepared with warrior intensity. Lily organized clothes and blankets. Thorn reinforced the nursery door, installed locks, turned it into a fortress. Henrik carved toys, wolves, bears, eagles. And Matthias transformed completely. The grieving Alpha King who'd been a ghost found purpose. He oversaw crib construction, tested every board, consulted Vera about birthing protocols, even learned to weave blankets, his large hands surprisingly deft. "You're nesting," Serafina observed one evening, watching him arrange the nursery for the 3rd time. "I'm preparing." "You're nesting, like an expectant father." Matthias paused. "Is that okay?" "It's perfect." She moved beside him, massive belly making grace impossible. "You've given us everything. Safety, home, family. If you want to nest, nest. If you want to be part of her life, be part of it. You're not replacing her father. He forfeited that right. You're choosing to be present. That matters more than blood." His eyes glistened. "When she's born, if you'll allow it, I'd like to be there. Not in the room if you're uncomfortable, but nearby. So you know you're not alone." "I'd like that." Labor began on a night when the moon was hidden behind storm clouds. Serafina woke to wetness and pain, her body clenching in waves. She gasped Matthias's name. "Vera!" he shouted, voice carrying through the longhouse. The next hours blurred into controlled chaos. Vera commanded with military precision. Lily brought hot water and linens. Thorn cleared the hallway. And Matthias stayed exactly where Serafina needed him, close enough to hold her hand, far enough to give healers space. "You're doing perfectly," Vera encouraged. "The baby's positioned well, strong heartbeat." But as midnight approached, complications emerged. The baby's heartbeat stuttered. Serafina's bleeding increased. "The cord's compressed," Vera announced. "We need to deliver now, or risk losing them both." Matthias's face went white. "Tell me what to do." "Pray, and hold her steady. This is going to hurt." What followed was pain beyond imagination. Vera worked with urgent efficiency. Lily held Serafina's legs, and Matthias anchored her through it all. "Stay with me. You're so strong. Your daughter needs you." One final agonizing push, a moment of breathless silence, then a cry, sharp, furious, alive. "A girl," Vera announced, relief thick in her voice. "Healthy, 10 fingers, 10 toes, lungs like a warrior." She placed the baby on Serafina's chest, tiny, perfect, covered in blood, and absolutely beautiful. The baby's eyes opened, locking onto her mother's face with instant recognition. "Hello, little one," Serafina whispered, tears streaming. "I'm your mama. We made it." The baby's crying quieted, tiny hand curling around Serafina's finger. Every moment of suffering became worth it. Matthias stood frozen, staring with devastated wonder. "She's perfect. Do you want to hold her?" His hands shook as Vera transferred the cleaned baby to his arms. The tiny girl settled immediately, as if his heartbeat was familiar. Safe. "What's her name?" Serafina had decided during labor. "Aurora. For the dawn, for new beginnings, for light after darkness." Aurora. Matthias tested the name gently. He looked down, then at Serafina. "Thank you for letting me be here. Thank you for saving us." Chapter 5. Aurora thrived. Within weeks she'd gained weight. Her cries grew lusty. Her eyes tracked movement with sharp intelligence. The pack fell in love instantly. But underneath joy, tension simmered. News traveled in wolf territories. Word of a pregnant Omega surviving, protected by the northern reaches Alpha King, reached packlands like wildfire. Eventually, it reached Silverpine. The demand arrived on a cold morning when Aurora was 6 weeks old. Matthias read the letter, his expression darkening. "What is it?" "Your old pack. They're demanding your return, claiming you stole pack property, herbs, supplies, knowledge." His voice was ice. "They want you extradited for trial." "That's insane. I left with nothing." "They know. This isn't about theft." Matthias crumpled the letter. "They're embarrassed. An exiled Omega surviving makes them look cruel. If you die, the problem disappears. So they'll lie to get me back, kill me quietly. They'll try, but I'm denying their request. Officially, as Alpha King, I have territorial sovereignty." His eyes glowed amber. "You're under my protection. End of discussion. That could start a war." "Let it. I'm done letting bullies win because good wolves are too afraid to fight back." Serafina felt the weight of consequences. Wolves dying because she'd survived. "What if I go back? Face them. Tell the truth publicly about Rylan, the bond breaking. Force them to acknowledge what they did." "Absolutely not." "Matthias, no." He crossed to her, presence filling the space. "They exiled you to die. Sending you back is suicide. I won't allow it. You don't control me. No, but I protect what's mine. And you're mine. You and Aurora both. The possessiveness was raw, undeniable. I've claimed you as Pack. They go through me to touch you. The words hung heavy. Mine, Pack, claimed. Aurora finished nursing, her tiny burp breaking tension. Serafina adjusted her clothing, avoiding Matthias's gaze. We need a plan. Ignoring them won't make this disappear. Agreed. I'm calling a council. Representatives from allied packs will present your case publicly. Force Silverpine to defend their actions under scrutiny. The council convened 2 weeks later. Alpha kings and queens from 8 territories gathered, their combined authority representing thousands of wolves. Serafina stood before them, Aurora in her arms, Matthias at her side. She told her story plainly. The forced bond breaking, the denial, the exile while pregnant, the months surviving alone. Every brutal detail delivered without embellishment. When she finished, the hall was silent. Silverpine's Alpha declined to attend, Matthias announced, sending only a junior Beta. I find that telling. The Beta stammered through his pack's position, that Serafina had been justly exiled under traditional laws, that her survival didn't negate the offense. What offense? Demanded Queen Alara, voice sharp. Pregnancy while unmated is only an offense if the Omega chose it freely. Did Serafina choose to have her bond broken? The circumstances aren't relevant. They're entirely relevant. Another Alpha stood, expression disgusted. Bond breaking during pregnancy is forbidden under sacred law. If Silverpine sanctioned it, they violated laws older than our packs. The Beta wilted. I'm just delivering my Alpha's message. Your Alpha is a coward, Matthias said coldly. Hiding behind you instead of defending his actions, that tells me everything. The vote was unanimous. 8 territories condemned Silverpine's actions, severed diplomatic ties, recognized Serafina's protection under Northern Reach sovereignty. It should have been victory. Instead, it was a declaration of war. Silverpine's response came swift and vicious. They declared Matthias's interference an act of aggression, mobilized warriors, sought allies who valued old laws over new sensibilities. Within a month, conflict became inevitable. They're coming, Thorn reported. 200 wolves, led by Rylan Voss himself. Serafina's blood turned to ice. Rylan is leading them? He's been promoted, Beta ascending to Enforcer. This is his chance to prove himself. Thorn's expression was grim. And he's bringing your father. The world tilted. Her father, the man who'd stood silent while elders exiled his pregnant daughter, was coming to drag her back. They'll attack within 3 days, Matthias said. We evacuate non-combatants, fortify defenses. No. Serafina stood, voice stronger than she felt. No more running. If they want me, they face me. Directly. Publicly. Let every wolf see what happens when you choose tradition over truth. Sarah, that's dangerous. Everything about my existence is dangerous. Her voice cracked. But I'm tired of being the problem. Tired of good wolves dying because I survived. If confronting them ends this, I'll do it. Matthias looked like he wanted to argue, but something in her expression stopped him. Then we do this smart. Controlled confrontation. You speak your truth, but surrounded by my warriors, with escape routes planned, Aurora safely hidden with Vera. Agreed. They prepared for 3 days. When Silverpine's forces arrived, they came like a thunderstorm. 200 wolves spreading across the valley. Rylan stood at their head, flanked by Serafina's father, Marcus, and elders. Matthias's pack met them at the border, outnumbered but unmoving. Between them, in cleared space that felt like battlefield or stage, Serafina stood alone. Aurora was hidden, safe. If this went wrong, at least her daughter would survive. Rylan stepped forward, contemptuous. Serafina Reed, you're charged with theft, desertion, spreading lies. Come peacefully, we'll show mercy. Mercy? Serafina's laugh was hollow. Like the mercy when you forced a bond breaking while I carried your daughter? Like the mercy when they exiled me to die? I have no daughter. You denied her. That doesn't make her stop existing. Serafina's voice carried across the valley. Her name is Aurora. She's 7 weeks old. She has your eyes, your chin, and you'll never touch her because you forfeited that right. Ryland's face flushed with rage. You're a liar trying to trap a beta. I'm telling truth, and everyone here knows it. Serafina turned to address assembled wolves. How many have watched omegas exiled for broken bonds? How many knew the bonds were broken by males who benefited? How many stayed silent because tradition demanded it? Damning silence. Silverpine's laws are broken. They protect predators and punish victims. She pointed at Rylan. He forced a bond during heat, then broke it when pregnancy became inconvenient. The elders sanctioned it because admitting his crime would expose their complicity. These are lies, Rylan snarled. Then submit to a truth-telling. Matthias's voice cut through chaos. Let a neutral Pax truth-seeker examine both of you. If Sarah's lying, we'll hand her over. If you're lying. His smile was predatory. Then you answer for every crime. Ryland's face went white. Truth-tellings were sacred. Marcus stepped forward, Serafina's father, face haggard with shame. Enough. My daughter speaks truth. His voice broke. Ryland forced the bond breaking. We sanctioned it because we were afraid of admitting our laws failed. The admission shattered something fundamental. I've failed you, Marcus said to Serafina. Failed as a father, as a wolf. I don't expect forgiveness, but I can stop failing now. He turned to Rylan. You're stripped of rank, exiled, under the same laws you used against my daughter. Ryland's protest was drowned by sudden howls of Silverpine wolves, not aggression, but acknowledgement. Justice finally being served. The confrontation ended not with battle, but transformation. Silverpine's warriors, disgusted by their leadership, refused to fight. Several requested asylum. Others returned to demand reforms. Ryland fled, branded coward and predator. Marcus approached hesitantly. May I see her? My granddaughter? Serafina looked at this broken man finally trying to choose right. Aurora deserved to know her grandfather, deserved to see redemption in action. Come tomorrow. Meet Aurora. Earn the privilege of being in her life. Marcus's eyes glistened. Thank you. As Silverpine retreated, Matthias pulled Serafina close. You were magnificent. I was terrified. Courage is being terrified and doing it anyway. Your daughter is going to know her mother is the fiercest wolf in any territory. They walked back together, surrounded by warriors, but feeling for the first time truly safe. Truth, spoken clearly and backed by power, proving stronger than any army. Subscribe if you believe mercy can crown even the fallen. Chapter 6. Weeks after Silverpine's retreat felt surreal. Marcus visited daily, slowly earning trust. He carved toys for Aurora, learned her schedules, listened without making excuses. I don't forgive you yet, Serafina told him one evening. I don't deserve forgiveness. I just want the chance to do better. To be the grandfather Aurora deserves, even if I failed as your father. It wasn't resolution, but it was beginning. More surprising was Silverpine's transformation. With Rylan exiled and old elders stripped of power, younger wolves took leadership. They abolished forced bond breakings, reformed exile laws, reached out for guidance. They're citing you as inspiration. Matthias showed her messages from Silverpine's new council. Calling your survival proof, their old ways needed changing. I didn't survive to be inspiring. I survived because I didn't have choice. That's what makes it inspiring. Life settled into rhythms. Aurora grew rapidly, personality emerging fierce and joyful. She'd giggle at shadows, grab everything, stare at Matthias with adoring focus. The pack doted shamelessly. And Serafina began to heal. Not perfectly. Trauma didn't vanish. She still woke from nightmares, still flinched at loud voices. But gradually, safety became real. And Matthias became complicated. He'd moved back to his quarters after Aurora's birth, giving space. But they still shared meals, still spent evenings together while Aurora played, still gravitated toward each other magnetically. "You're staring," Matthias observed one night. "I'm thinking." "About?" Serafina hesitated, then chose honesty. "About how you look at Aurora, like she's yours completely, even though she's not your blood, and how that makes me feel things." Matthias set down his report. "What kind of things? Grateful, safe, and like maybe I'm allowed to want more than survival. Like maybe I deserve happiness." The air shifted, charged. "You deserve everything," Matthias said quietly. "Happiness, peace, love, all of it." "Do you, after losing Iris?" His expression went complex. "I'm learning to believe I might. That honoring Iris doesn't mean suffering forever, that maybe she'd want me to live fully again." Charged silence, both circling something significant. "I'm not ready," Serafina said finally, "for anything beyond what we have. Trust is there, friendship, co-parenting. But romance." She touched the scar where Ryland's bond breaking left permanent marks. "I don't know if I'll ever be ready." "I'm not asking for romance. I'm offering partnership, the kind that comes from choosing each other daily, building a life together, raising Aurora as our daughter." He paused. "Whatever else develops or doesn't, I'm content with whatever you're willing to give." "What if I'm never willing to give more?" "Then I'll spend every day grateful for what we have. Sarah, I claimed you and Aurora as mine months ago. Not romantically, just mine to protect, mine to cherish, mine to build a future with." His voice softened. "I fell in love with Iris young and passionate. If I fall in love again, it'll be different. Slower, built on trust rather than heat." Serafina felt tears prick. "You're saying you could love me, eventually." "I'm saying I already do. Just not in the way that demands anything. I love you the way I love breathing, essential, constant, not something I control." He smiled self-deprecatingly. "But love comes in many forms. Romance is just one. Partnership is another, and partnership is what I'm offering. Partners, co-parents, family built on choice. Exactly. And if someday I want more, we'll figure it out together." The honesty felt like sunlight. Serafina crossed the space and curled into his side, not romantic, just close, sharing warmth and trust. Aurora, playing nearby, chose that moment to roll over completely for the first time. Both adults gasped with delight. "Did you see that?" Matthias moved to the floor instantly. "Who's clever?" Serafina watched them, this unlikely family built from wreckage, and felt something uncurl in her chest. Not complete healing, but beginning. Understanding that suffering didn't have to define her, that the life ahead could be beautiful if she let it. "Matthias," she said softly. He looked up, Aurora clutched to his chest. "Thank you, for all of it. For seeing me when the world said I was invisible. For choosing us when you didn't have to." His eyes reflected firelight. "Thank you for letting me, for trusting me, for building this with me." Aurora cooed, as if agreeing. That night, Serafina's nightmares didn't come. She slept deeply, woke to sunlight painting the room gold. Downstairs, Matthias was already preparing breakfast with focused intensity. He'd learned to make Aurora's favorite, mashed fruit and oats. "Morning," he greeted, smiling. "Morning." She moved beside him, movements synchronized from months of shared space. "Where's Aurora?" Lily took her for a walk, wanted to show her the new wolf pups. He handed Serafina tea, brewed exactly right. We have about an hour of peace. They ate in comfortable silence, then migrated to the study where Matthias reviewed pack business while Serafina organized Aurora's growing collection of belongings. I'm expanding the nursery, Matthias announced. She'll need more space soon. Play area, storage for all the gifts the pack keeps bringing. She's going to be impossibly spoiled. She's going to be loved. There's a difference. As if summoned, Lily burst in with Aurora, both breathless. She petted a wolf pup with her whole hand, no fear at all. Aurora's delighted giggles filled the room, and both Matthias and Serafina gravitated toward their daughter with identical expressions of besotted adoration. This, Serafina thought, this is what I survived for. Not just existence, but this specific life, this family, this home built from choice and trust and showing up daily despite wounds. The future stretched ahead, uncertain but bright. There would be challenges. Rylan was still out there somewhere, bitter and potentially dangerous. Silverpine's reforms might fail. New threats might emerge. But for now, surrounded by wolves who chose her, holding the daughter who made everything worthwhile, partnered with an alpha king who saw her worth, Serafina was home. And that was enough. Chapter 7. Aurora's first birthday arrived with unexpected snow and undeniable joy. The pack prepared for weeks. The great hall was decorated with pine garlands and carved wooden wolves. Aurora, oblivious to the fuss, was more interested in her newfound ability to walk, stumbling between Matthias and Serafina with determined wobbles and triumphant giggles. She's got your stubbornness, Matthias observed, catching Aurora before she face-planted. She's got your recklessness, refuses to crawl when walking is available. They'd fallen into rhythm over the past months, partnership deepening through shared midnight feedings, teething tantrums, celebrating milestones. Still not romantic, but undeniably intimate in ways that mattered more than passion. The celebration drew wolves from across allied territories. Marcus arrived with gifts and hard-won acceptance. Silverpine's new council sent representatives bearing formal apologies and tokens of restitution. Even Queen Alara attended, bringing her daughter to play with Aurora. You've built something remarkable, Alara told Serafina privately. A pack where exiled wolves find sanctuary, where broken bonds heal, where children grow up believing worth is inherent. Matthias built it. I just survived. You both built it. Don't diminish your contribution. Alara's eyes were shrewd. And you're building something else, a bond between Alpha and Omega that wasn't forced, but chose itself. Every wolf here sees how you orbit each other, how Aurora calls him Da, and you don't correct her. She smiled. It's revolutionary and beautiful. Heat rose in Serafina's cheeks. We're just doing what works. Exactly. And proving there are other ways. Better ways. Alara squeezed her hand. Don't underestimate the impact of your example. During the feast, Thorn stood to toast. To Aurora, may she grow fierce and kind, and to the parents who proved family is built through choice, not blood. To Aurora, the pack chorused. Later, when Aurora crashed from excitement, Serafina carried her to the nursery. She was settling their daughter when Aurora, half asleep, murmured, Da, plaintively. He'll be here soon, Serafina whispered. Da? Aurora's eyes opened, searching. I'm here, little one. Matthias appeared, moving with quiet purpose. He took Aurora, settled in the rocking chair, and began humming the lullaby that always worked. Serafina watched them. This Alpha King and this child born of rejection, chosen family complete in each other. Her heart ached with complicated feelings, gratitude, contentment, and underneath, love. Not passionate, desperate love, something deeper, built on trust and time and witnessing each other's wounds without looking away. Matthias caught her staring. What? I love you. The words escaped before she could reconsider. Matthias froze, Aurora asleep against his chest, his eyes wide with shock. You don't have to respond, Serafina added quickly. I just needed to say it, because it's true. Not romance, not desire, just love. The kind that makes me want to build every tomorrow with you in it. Matthias's expression transformed, hope replacing caution. Sarah, I've loved you since you stood in that cabin doorway, 8 months pregnant and wielding a stick, refusing to beg. But I didn't say it because I didn't want to pressure you. You love me? She crossed to him, knelt beside the chair. Really? Completely, irrevocably, in every way that matters. He cupped her face with his free hand. I love how you survived when the world wanted you dead. I love how fiercely you protect Aurora. I love your laugh and stubbornness and the way you hum while cooking. His voice roughened. I love you with everything I have. I just didn't know if you'd ever feel the same. I do. Maybe I have been for months and just didn't recognize it. She leaned into his touch. Is this okay? Us, this, whatever we're becoming. It's more than okay. It's everything I didn't know I still wanted. They kissed carefully, mindful of sleeping Aurora. Not passionate, that would come later, if at all, but tender, full of promise and patience and understanding that love built slowly was love built to last. Aurora stirred, grumbling. They both laughed softly. We should put her down, Serafina whispered. In a minute. Matthias held them both, his arms encompassing his family, his expression peaceful. Let me just hold you both a moment longer. They stayed like that, 3 souls who'd found each other through trauma, building something precious in the aftermath. Later, after Aurora was tucked in and guests departed, Matthias and Serafina stood on the longhouse balcony, watching moonlight paint the valley silver. What happens now? Serafina asked. Whatever we want, we're building this together. No rules except what we choose. I'm still not ready for... She trailed off. Mating? Bonding? Matthias supplied. I know, I'm not rushing you. We have time. What if I'm never ready? Then we build exactly what we have. Partnership, co-parenting, love without bonds. I don't need a ceremony to know you're mine. I already know. She turned in his arms. I'm terrified that I'll fail you, that this will break. You won't. We won't. His certainty was absolute. Because we're choosing this daily, not from obligation, but from genuine want. That foundation is stronger than any bond. You can't know that. I know you survived exile while pregnant, built a life from nothing, stood against your entire former pack armed only with truth. He smiled. If you can do that, you can handle loving someone already devoted to you. Serafina felt truth settle into her bones. Maybe he was right. Maybe love didn't have to be destructive. Maybe it could be shelter, partnership, steady strength that weathered storms together. Okay, she whispered. Okay, let's do this, build this, whatever this becomes. She kissed him softly, together, however long it takes. Matthias's smile rivaled the moon. Together. They stood wrapped in each other while the pack settled around them, while Aurora slept peacefully inside, while the future unfolded with terrifying possibility. And Serafina, for the first time since exile, let herself believe she deserved this happiness, this home, this family built from wreckage and choice, and refusing to let suffering make her surrender. The mountains watched as 2 broken souls finished their journey from exile to home, from survival to thriving. From rejected and grieving to chosen and whole. Tomorrow would bring challenges. Rylan was still out there. Silverpine's reforms remained fragile. Aurora would grow, requiring new protections. But tonight, they had each other. Had love admitted and reciprocated. Had family chosen rather than assigned. And that was enough. More than enough. Everything. Chapter 8. The attack came on a night when the moon was dark and Aurora was 18 months old, chattering in half-words and climbing everything. Serafina and Matthias had finally started sharing quarters, their partnership deepening into something that looked more like traditional mating every day. Not bonded formally, but bound by choice and love that grew stronger with each sunrise. They were asleep, Aurora between them after a nightmare when the first howls erupted. Matthias was on his feet instantly, already half-shifted. Raiders, southwest border. Rylan? Serafina's voice was cold. Maybe. Stay with Aurora. Thorn's already... The window exploded inward in a shower of glass and wood. A massive gray wolf landed in the room, snarling, eyes locked on Serafina with murderous intent. Rylan. He'd grown in exile, larger, more scarred, feral with obsession and rage. He lunged for Aurora. Matthias intercepted, his black form colliding with gray in a tangle of teeth and fury. They crashed through furniture, the room too small to contain two alpha-sized wolves fighting to kill. Serafina grabbed Aurora and ran. The hallway was chaos, pack warriors fighting raiders, the smell of blood and fear, flames spreading from deliberately set fires. Vera appeared, blood-streaked but alive. "Tunnels!" she shouted. "Underground escape routes!" They fled together, Vera leading while Serafina clutched, screaming Aurora. Behind them, Matthias's roar shook the building, not pain, but fury. They burst into lower levels, found the tunnel entrance. But raiders were already there, cutting off escape. 5 wolves, coordinated, blocking the path. Serafina put herself between them and Aurora, Omega instincts overwhelming everything. She'd die before they touched her daughter. "Move," the lead raider snarled. "We just want the brat." "Never. She's his daughter, Rylan's. He has rights. He denied her, exiled us to die." Serafina's voice carried power she didn't know she possessed. "Aurora is mine. You'll have to kill me to take her." The raiders advanced. Then Matthias arrived like vengeance incarnate. He was covered in blood, Rylan's mostly, but some his own. His wolf form was terrifying, feral, protective beyond reason. He tore into the raiders with surgical precision, not just defeating but destroying them. "Enough!" Serafina's voice cut through violence. "Matthias, enough! Aurora's safe! Stop!" He froze mid-strike, amber eyes finding hers. Slowly, his feral nature receded. He shifted to human form, naked and blood-soaked, and stumbled toward them. "Are you hurt? Is she hurt?" "We're fine. You saved us." Serafina checked him over, finding wounds that would need attention, but nothing fatal. "Rylan?" "Dead." Matthias's voice was hollow. "He came for Aurora, was going to kill you both. I couldn't let that happen again, couldn't lose another family." Serafina understood. This wasn't just about her and Aurora. This was Matthias fighting demons that had haunted him since Iris, refusing to fail again. "You didn't lose us," she said firmly, pulling him close despite the blood. "We're here, safe because of you." Aurora, remarkably resilient, reached tiny hands toward Matthias. "Da hurt?" "Da's okay, little love." He took her gently, and she immediately burrowed into his neck, her small body trembling, but trusting. "Da's always okay when you're safe." The pack rallied quickly. Fires were extinguished. Raiders who survived were captured. The longhouse suffered damage but remained standing. And Rylan's body was burned without ceremony, his attempt to reclaim what he denied ending in ash and failure. In the aftermath, Serafina and Matthias sat in their damaged quarters while Vera tended his wounds. Aurora slept between them, exhausted but unharmed. "He's really gone," Serafina whispered. "It's really over. That chapter is." Matthias winced as Vera cleaned a deep gash across his ribs. "But there will be others, wolves who resent our ways, packs who see our reforms as weakness. Then we face them, together." Serafina placed her hand over his. "Like we've faced everything else." Vera finished bandaging and stood. "You two need rest, real rest. I'm taking Aurora to my quarters tonight so you can actually sleep without tiny feet in your faces. Vera? Not negotiable. You just survived an assassination attempt. Sleep. Heal. I'll bring her back tomorrow. She scooped up Aurora with practiced ease. Come on, little warrior. Let's let your parents breathe. After she left, silence filled the space. Matthias and Serafina sat among broken furniture and bloodstains, too exhausted to move. I was terrified, Matthias admitted. When that window broke and I saw Rylan going for Aurora, I was back in that moment with Iris, arriving too late, unable to save them. But this time, you did save us. This time. His voice was raw. But Sarah, I can't promise I'll always be fast enough, always be there. The fear of failing you both. Then we share it. She moved closer, wrapped herself around him despite his injuries. The fear, the responsibility, the love, all of it. You're not Atlas holding up the world alone anymore. I'm here. The pack is here. We protect each other. Matthias buried his face in her hair, and she felt dampness that might have been tears. I don't deserve you. Good thing love isn't about deserving. It's about choosing. She tilted his face up, met his eyes. And I choose you. Every day. Every moment. Through attacks and fear and broken windows, I choose you. He kissed her then, not tender, but desperate. Full of adrenaline and relief and the fierce need to confirm they were both still alive. Serafina kissed back with equal intensity, her hands tangling in his hair, her body pressed against his despite his wounds. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Matthias rested his forehead against hers. Marry me. The words hung in the air, stark and certain. What? Marry me. Bond with me. Not because tradition demands it, not because Aurora needs a father's name, but because I want to spend every remaining day of my life choosing you. His eyes burned with intensity. I want to be yours formally, officially, in every way that matters. And I want you to be mine the same way. Serafina's heart raced. I thought we were taking it slow. We've been taking it slow for 18 months, and tonight showed me that life is too short and too brutal to waste time on fear. He cupped her face. I love you, completely, without reservation, and I want to build our future on that foundation, not on my guilt or your trauma, but on genuine choice and love. Tears streamed down Serafina's face. I'm still broken in places. So am I. We'll be broken together. He smiled. Sarah, we've built a family from exile and grief. We've survived attacks and reformed entire pack structures. If we can do all that, we can absolutely handle being officially mated. She thought about it, about the journey from that abandoned cabin to here, about how this scarred Alpha King had seen her worth when the world called her disposable, about how every day with him felt like choosing life over merely surviving. Yes, she whispered. Yes, yes, I'll marry you, bond with you, be yours in every way that matters. She kissed him softly. Because you're right. We've earned this, earned each other, and I'm done letting fear make decisions for me. Matthias's expression transformed into pure joy. We're doing this. We're doing this. They held each other among the wreckage, planning a future built on choice rather than circumstance. And outside, the pack began rebuilding, stronger for having survived together. Tomorrow would bring ceremonies and celebrations, would bring the formal bonding that made their partnership official, would bring new challenges and old enemies. But tonight, in the darkness after battle, two souls who'd found each other through impossible odds chose each other one more time. And that choice, repeated daily through trial and trauma, was the strongest foundation any bond could have. Chapter 9. The bonding ceremony took place under the full moon 3 months later, after the longhouse was rebuilt, and Ryland's attack became memory rather than fresh wound. The entire northern reach gathered, along with representatives from allied packs. Aurora, now almost 2, wore a crown of woven flowers and took her role as flower girl with utmost seriousness, toddling down the aisle, scattering petals with concentrated determination. Serafina wore a dress of white fur trimmed with silver thread, a gift from the pack's elders. Her hair was braided with winter roses, her feet bare as tradition demanded. She looked like a queen, Matthias thought, watching her approach. Not because of finery, but because of the strength radiating from every step. This wasn't a woman being given away. This was a woman choosing, claiming, building her own destiny. Matthias wore his ceremonial armor, polished until it gleamed. At his side stood Thorn and Cassius, his most trusted warriors. At Serafina's side walked Vera and Lily, her chosen family. Marcus was there too, standing with Silverpine's new council. His expression held pride and lingering shame, the complicated mix of a man trying to atone for past failures by supporting his daughter's happiness. The ceremony itself was simple. No lengthy speeches. Just the exchange of vows under the goddess's silver eye. I, Matthias Corvus, claim you as my mate, my partner, my equal in all things, Matthias said, his voice carrying across the gathered wolves. I vow to protect you, cherish you, and choose you every day until my last breath. I vow to raise Aurora as our daughter, to build our future on trust rather than tradition, and to love you with everything I am. Serafina's eyes glistened. I, Serafina Reed, claim you as my mate, my partner, my equal in all things. I vow to stand beside you, challenge you, and choose you every day through joy and hardship. I vow to honor Iris's memory while building our own story, to raise Aurora with fierce love, and to prove that bonds born of choice are stronger than any bond born of obligation. They clasped hands, and the pack's shaman stepped forward with the ceremonial blade. One cut across each palm, their blood mingling, the ancient ritual that sealed bonds deeper than words. The moment their blood touched, something shifted in the air. Not just the bond forming, something more. The silver light that had marked Serafina since Aurora's birth flared brighter, connecting to Matthias, creating a web of protection that encompassed them both. The Pathfinder gift, not just Serafina's anymore, but theirs together. The gathered wolves gasped as the light spread, touching everyone present, creating connection where isolation had been, healing old wounds, bridging gaps between traditionalists and reformers. The goddess blesses this union, the shaman announced, voice filled with awe. Witness the Pathfinder bond, renewed and shared. These two souls, broken and remade, will lead us toward new ways without forgetting old wisdom. The pack erupted in howls, celebration and acknowledgement and relief that their Alpha King had finally found peace. The feast lasted until dawn. Wolves danced and sang, shared stories and laughter. Aurora was passed from lap to lap, soaking up attention and cake with equal enthusiasm. Marcus approached Serafina during a quiet moment. "You look happy," he said simply. "I am." She studied her father, seeing the gray in his hair, the lines carved by guilt and regret. "Are you?" "I'm trying to be, trying to build something better in Silverpine, trying to be the grandfather Aurora deserves." He paused. "I can't undo the past, can't erase my failure, but I can be present now, if you'll allow it." Serafina considered. Forgiveness was complicated, earned slowly through consistent action. But Aurora deserved to know her grandfather, deserved to see that people could change, could grow, could choose better, even after choosing wrong. "Come for dinner next week," she said. "Bring the new council members. Let's talk about the reforms you're implementing." Marcus's eyes glistened. "Thank you." As the celebration continued, Matthias pulled Serafina aside, leading her to the rebuilt balcony overlooking the valley. The moon hung heavy and silver, painting everything in shades of grace. "Do you ever think about the cabin?" he asked. where it all started. Sometimes, it feels like a lifetime ago, like it happened to different people. In some ways, it did. We're not the same wolves who met in that abandoned shelter. No, Serafina agreed. We're better. Scarred, but healing. Broken, but choosing to rebuild. Matthias wrapped his arms around her from behind, his chin resting on her shoulder. I love our life, the chaos of Aurora, the pack politics, the constant challenges of reform, all of it. Even the attacks and near-death experiences? Especially those. They remind me what we're fighting for. He turned her to face him. Sarah, we've built something unprecedented here. A pack where exiled wolves find home, where bonds form through choice rather than heat, where omegas and alphas lead as equals. We've barely started. There's so much work left. I know, and I'm excited for all of it, as long as you're beside me. They kissed under the full moon, witnessed by their pack and blessed by the goddess. Below them, Aurora's laugh rang out as Lily swung her in circles. Behind them, the longhouse stood rebuilt and stronger, scars of battle transformed into proof of resilience. What do you think happens next? Serafina asked. More challenges, more wolves seeking sanctuary, probably more assassination attempts from traditionalists who hate what we represent. Matthias smiled. And more moments like this, more laughter, more love, more proof that choosing each other was the best decision we ever made. That's a lot. We've handled worse. He kissed her forehead. We'll handle whatever comes, together. As dawn broke, painting the mountains gold and pink, the pack finally settled. Aurora crashed in Vera's arms, her flower crown askew. Marcus departed with promises to return. Allied alphas left with new ideas for their own territories, and Serafina and Matthias stood together, watching their world wake up to new possibilities. She was thrown to the wolves, Matthias quoted softly, remembering that first night in the cabin. But the one who found her was their king. And together, Serafina added, we proved that mercy and strength aren't opposites. That broken bonds can be remade, that family is built through choice, not blood. Together, Matthias agreed. They walked back inside hand in hand, ready to face whatever tomorrow brought. Because they'd survived the impossible already. Had built love from exile, family from grief, hope from despair. And that foundation, built on daily choice, on showing up despite wounds, on refusing to let suffering make them cruel, would hold against anything. The mountains watched, ancient and patient, as two souls who'd been cast out found their way home, not to the places they'd left, but to each other. And in that choice, in that daily commitment to build something beautiful from broken pieces, they'd created something that would echo through generations, a pack where mercy was strength, where bonds formed through trust, where every wolf, regardless of past rejection or failure, could find sanctuary and purpose. They'd built a new world, one choice, one day, one act of courage at a time. And it was enough, more than enough. It was everything. If your heart beat alongside ours, like, comment and subscribe. Because every soul that joins our moon keeps the flame of redemption alive.